Hey guys, welcome to Jet Live. I'm here with Aviella Trapido. She joined us last week when J-Town producers were here, and she's here with us again to talk a little bit more about theater, her world, how she's doing, and yeah, let's get started. And Shlomit, if you're listening, um, hopefully you'll have all these questions. I've actually come up with a few. So how are you? I understand you just came back from work. You're how's that going?
Yeah. Thank you for having me, first of all. And yeah, work is going well. Actually, I'm very fortunate. I pretty much worked throughout this entire period. We were very, very, very busy at the clinic. I'm a veterinary nurse. I work for a private clinic in Mevaseret, for those who don't know. And this period, the Corona period, if you will, has been we've been very busy. I guess people are home with their pets more, and they're noticing things more, and people are adopting a lot more. So we've been really busy. So
Yeah, we actually took I think we took Dallas to the vet during this time period more than we've done ever in the past. Actually, like all of a sudden everything started, and like we got locked down, and we were like, oh shoot, we have to take him to the vet, and he ran away once from the vet. He doesn't like
oh
it there.
no.
Yeah, they have their surgery, and then they go back. They're not so happy about it, so he gets scared when he's there, and we maybe would have had to go to somewhere else to get checked out. Well, no, we asked the vet at one point. We're like, so can we get like a doctor's slip to say that he needs more exercise so we can go further than 100 meters? She said no, but yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It is a
I think
thing.
who yeah, I think so. I think whoever put in that 100-meter thing does not have a dog.
I actually heard that Netanyahu has a dog, and he wanted it to be more like that dogs could roam freely, and then other people were saying no. So, and there was a lot of different discussions about how to do the restrictions, but pets are great. Like I don't know. Like I asked myself yesterday, I think, what would I have done without Dallas? Like what would I have done without having those walks? Um, but enough about pets. Let's get into theater a bit.
Yeah, we can talk about our dogs all throughout the entire interview, and that would be just fine.
I'm sure Leia's actually watching, so she's got Penny.
Yes. Hi,
um,
Lay.
a few things. You've been involved in I think almost every single company. Um, that I can think of off the top of my head. For sure with musicals. Uh, and you've been producing with J-Town Playhouse. But I was interested in knowing. Yes, she is. Hey Leia, I was interested in like understanding or knowing like what your process was to get into the director's chair, and how you really. I mean, we talked a little bit about this J-Town, but like how you juggle. You sometimes are doing like you did. What was it now? With the women in theater, you were working on Wizard of Oz, and you were doing She Loves Me, and now you're going to be doing Chitty Bang Bang. So like jumping from actress to director to producer, all these different roles. I know some people, and you've done it also as well, like act, direct, and produce all at the same time in the same show. Um, but when you're not acting, producing, and directing in the same show, how do you juggle it all basically? Howie's amazing though, by the way. He jumps from show to show to show to show to show.
Howie, I
But
think if there was like the Oscars or whatever, an award for our theater community of who has done the most shows, I think Howie's hands down. He's in everything. I don't know how, and but I do understand why, because he's wonderful to work with. I really always enjoy working with him. Um, he's been in pretty much every one of my shows, almost every one of my shows that I personally directed. So it's actually a couple of questions.
Yeah,
It's true. I have been
I threw it
involved.
all in there.
Yeah, it's true. I have been involved in pretty much almost all the theater companies. I haven't worked with Yael Valier or more of the straight plays like Theater in the Rap and things like that. Generally because I tend to go more towards musicals. But I really enjoy theatre, and I try never to miss a play by Yael. She's fantastic, and I enjoy the plays. I'm more of an observer than I am a performer when it comes to straight plays. I think you know what it is, CB. I think I'm afraid I'm gonna drop my lines or something. It's so much harder to memorize lines in a play than it is to memorize lyrics to a song. So I think there's like a little fear inside of me. But I actually started with jest in a straight play. I did Pygmalion when I was 16 years old, soon after making Aliyah. And that was sort of my little baby step into the theater world, but with Leah Stoller. She was the director, and she kind of opened that door for me, and she was wonderful to work with. And so really my theatrical beginnings here in Israel are due to Leah Stoller, who gave me that first supporting role in Pygmalion. And I worked with Shannon Quiche, of course, who's phenomenal, and that was a really wonderful experience. And after that, I met Rob Binder and Paul Salter, and I went into the very first production of Mikado, which they did way back when, and I was in the ensemble. And Paul, I think, I guess he took notice of me, and he really started to um, influence me, and he encouraged me to go start voice training, and he really, really wanted to see me succeed. So I think due to him, there's a lot of people who like helped me along my journey to where I am today. So I'm mentioning people that I think really, really made an impact on me and really propelled me forward to where I am. So that was Paul Salter. He was very encouraging, and he encouraged me to start voice lessons. And then I did another performance with them where I was again in the ensemble. And then the year after that, I got my first lead. And that is sort of how I started my journey with Rob and Paul, which was then the Gilbert and Sullivan Society, Jerusalem Gilbert and Sullivan Society. And then it turned into Encore. And so I've been with them for, I think, 14 years now. It's a long
Wow.
time. And then through them, I started working with other companies. I did Hello Dolly with Michael Burrell, which was loads of fun. Working with phenomenal cast. I worked with Gabby Shine and Doobie Harvey, and some really special people, Sarah Abelman, and really amazing people. And from there, I don't know. It's just I've had my fingers in a lot of pies. But my directorial debut is all down to Rafi Posh, which is ironic because I'm the one who got him into theater. I schlepped him to his very first production here in Israel to go see. We went to see Josh Becker in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown many, many, many years ago. And I think that ignited a spark inside of him, which propelled him to become like a very big, what's the word, tour de force in the theater community. And he said to me, I think back in 2012, he said to me, don't you think it's time you should direct? Do you want to direct something? And I said, me? I'm not a director. I can't direct. And I said, talk to Shannon Quiche, talk to like anybody but me. I'm a performer. I'm not a director. And he said, no, I think you have what it takes. Like you definitely know how not to direct. So, which I think is very important in directing is when you've had enough experience, you kind of learn what you don't want in a director and what you would like to have in a director. And when you've had so many years experiencing shows from an actor's point of view, it can help you be a better director. So that was it. He started me on my journey, and then of course later on, we produced together until he left J-Town, and I was left with Layla and Jen. So that's very concise. I hope I answered all the questions.
I can't even remember all my questions from the beginning to say, but there's a lot in there. So thank you. So this is actually a question. Shlomit, thank you. I was going to ask this, but she wanted to know what would be your favorite show to direct, produce, be the lead in. I guess if you want to, what would be your favorite show to do all three together, and then what would be your favorite show just to direct?
I would never, ever want to direct, produce, and perform in the same show. Directing and producing in the same show is an absolute directing and producing is difficult, but to direct and perform is really, really difficult. Very difficult. It's not something I would ever want to do. Oh my gosh, I cannot answer that. There are too many choices, and it also depends on like my mood and whatever's on my playlist that day. So I feel like I've been very fortunate. Directing Company was a dream come true. Directing She Loves Me was a dream come true. I really, really enjoyed that. I loved Ordinary Days. And I think my favorite roles that I performed in was The King and I. Maybe Mary Poppins.
Oh,
I would love
that
to
would be a good
perform,
one.
direct, and produce. Well, maybe not produce, but I'd like to perform and direct.
Well, it's probably easy to find the umbrella.
A talking one.
Talking umbrella. They have those. I don't know how much they'll say, but somewhere somebody has like the battery it turns on. And I'm sure we have plenty of talent here that can make it happen. But before Shlomi, we get to your millions of questions that you ask every single time. I love it. She's amazing.
Shlomit is amazing, and I just have to shout out to Shlomit. Like I've seen this woman, this young woman. We've known each other. I don't know how many years now, Shlomit. Like more than 10 years now, I think. Right? I've seen her develop. She's really a tour de force as far as performing is concerned. I've seen her develop from this quiet, inhibited young girl to this incredibly talented, mega talent. Again, another person I love working with, enjoy working with. Always happy to work with Shlomit. I love challenging her, and she always rises to the challenge. She's fantastic.
Awesome. 2010 in the or is she talking about Winter's Tale? I'm not sure. Which I think was around then, or was that 2012? So what do you? I think Shlomit asked this last time also, J-Town, but we didn't really get to answer it, or I don't exactly remember. You helped for Pinafore prep. She saw you in Pirates of Penzance and then fell in love with you, or fell in love with theater. I feel like this is Shlomit keeps on coming in and just having the conversation. One time, at some point, she's going to be on Jet Live, like me doing this. We're going to start talking about it. Don't worry, Shlomit, we've got you. Rutagore. Okay, she's just naming all the Gilbert and Sullivans. What are you looking for in auditions? And I actually had a question about what's the audition process for you, because I remember for Your Goodman Charlie Brown, you brought in 3 people at a time, and I've always wanted to ask, like I know Michael Burl does everybody just walk in the room and everybody sits there and waits and people sing, and then there are those that obviously you go in one at a time, and then you had like this 3 people. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very good question, and thank you for asking. There is method to my madness, believe it or not. And I'll tell you what it is. I love Michael Burl, but I think it can be very intimidating. I understand why he does it. He probably wants to like create this feeling of camaraderie, and everybody's in this together, and everybody, and it's fair and it's open, and I think that's really great. I find that for me personally, that's a little bit intimidating, especially for new people on the scene. So on the one hand, it's nice you have your friends there to support you. On the other hand, it can be very intimidating. There's no right or wrong way. Everybody has their own, shitot. But the reason why I like to have 4 people, sometimes it's 3, sometimes, but generally I like to have 3 or 4 people come in at a time. And I'll tell you why. It's so important. Okay. Now everyone's going to start doing it. No, I'm kidding. Basically, my very first show that I directed was Company, and I had people auditioning in groups of 3 or 4, and the reason was that a show like Company, or any show for that matter, really depends heavily on the cast and the camaraderie amongst the cast. And one of the things I'm looking for, apart from talent, is I'm looking for potential. And I'm looking for potential not just with regards to somebody's vocal ability or somebody's ability to perform or take direction. I'm looking to see how people interact with each other. And one of the things I found so amazing in auditioning for Company was that there was one particular group that came into audition. There were 4 of them. They came into audition. And as each one got up to sing their song and then, sit down again while I brought up the next person, all 3 of them that they were listening to the 4th person, they started clapping when the person finished. And those are the things I'm looking for. I'm not just looking for the talent. I'm looking for people that are going to be supportive of each other through a very lengthy process. So when people come into the room together, I'm looking to see how they interact with each other. Are they kind to each other? Are they good to each other? Because we're not just building a cast, we're building a family. These are the people that you're going to see for hours on end for the next few months of your life. And when there's chemistry there, and when there's compassion and kindness, that's the foundation for a good performance, because that's what the audience picks up on. The audience picks up on whether there's tension on stage. Sometimes the tension's supposed to be there, and that's good. But the more united the cast is, the better the rehearsal process, the easier things flow. And so that's the main thing that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not looking for people to come in and necessarily blow me away, even though that almost always happens, and I'm always grateful for the talent that walks in the door. I'm looking to see how people respond to each other as people. And that can sometimes that very heavily influences my opinion and my decisions. So that's why I audition in small groups. I like to see camaraderie. I like to see how people respond.
So. Cool. I think Michael probably, that's part of what he does too. He's seeing everybody come in and see how they respond to each other. So Shlomi wanted to know what I think this could be kind of the same question, but what is your, and hopefully you'll have an answer to this. What's your dream role? Forget directing and everything, whatever, but what would you like to?
Shlomi, seriously, if I asked you that, you would not be able to answer. What kind of question is that?
I think it's a great question too. I mean, that's what we pretty much ask anybody. It's an actor that comes out here.
Oh gosh, I have several. I would love to do Fantine in Les Mis, and I would love to do Mary Poppins, and I would love to do pretty much any Gilbert Sullivan lead soprano role.
Which ones have you not done yet?
I have not done Princess Ida, and I have not done. No, I think that's it. I haven't done Princess Ida. That's the one I haven't done. But
how many Gilbert and Sullivan are there? How many?
A lot. There are also like a couple of operettas that were not very, very successful, like Utopia Unlimited and The Grand Duke, and these ones that are less popular, less well known. A lot. I think 14. I don't know. Somebody can check me on that.
14.
I
And you've
think.
been with Robert and Paul about 14 years. So
Nachan,
you're
but they
all,
haven't done Princess Ida.
no, not yet,
No,
not yet.
but
Maybe.
also anything Sondheim. I really, you know what? Probably The Baker's Wife. Yeah, from Woods Into the Woods. So.
Into the Woods. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
they who did that? Logan did that. I think last year, 2 years ago.
I didn't
They
see
did
it.
Into the Woods. Has anybody else do Into the Woods? Did someone in Jerusalem ever do Into the Woods? Yeah.
It was, there was a period of time where it was done regularly. The very first show that I ever assistant directed was for a kids summer camp way back when in Beit Shemesh, and my very first show was Into the Woods that I assistant directed with Penina Schwartz, and Penina Schwartz actually introduced me to Stephen Sondheim. I didn't know Stephen Sondheim until we did Into the Woods, and that was like that opened the door to this whole other world that I didn't know. And I think your sister-in-law was in it. She played Little Red. Oh, she didn't. She played Cinderella.
Oh, Pina Schwartz. Pina Schwartz.
Yeah, but your sister-in-law was in our production of
My
Into the
sister,
Woods.
Miriam.
Yeah, Miriam
Oh
was in
yeah.
it. And she
Oh, she
played
did.
Cinderella.
She did theater. I didn't know that. Did I? the
Yeah,
the the Academy did it in Hebrew. Um,
Nahan.
uh, so Shlomit has another question. Shlomit, you're awesome. What's your what? This is, I think, if someone's going and delving into the world of performance, I think Shlomit's almost finishing her studies. And what would
Yes.
be your advice for someone going into that? They finished. I mean, it's really cool to be in college and study and like learn so much, but then you got to go into the real world and jump in and figure out how to be in the world of performance and maintain a presence. It's
Shlomit, you're like killing me here. What are these questions? They're fabulous questions. What to look out for? What to how to cope? How to
yeah. I mean, advice. I don't know,
you
Shlomi,
know
you want to be more specific?
I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that because I was heading in that direction. I was heading towards a career in the opera world, actually, and I was accepted to the studio in Tel Aviv, and I was accepted to the IVAI, and I did a course with the IVAI, with the International Vocal Arts Institute in Tel Aviv. I was one of 80 students chosen internationally to participate, and we did 5 operas in 6 weeks, I think. It was very intense, and I got to work with some incredible teachers from all around the world. And I was really heading in that direction, and I had a sort of like an epiphany, a sort of a light bulb moment, which made me um, put the brakes on. It was for me. It wasn't for me long term. I wanted other things. So I think if you want to be in that world, you have to really eat, sleep, breathe nothing but your craft. And you have to be prepared to make big sacrifices for it, I think. And you have to be okay with making those sacrifices. I wasn't. I wasn't. Um, I remember where I was. I was sitting in the cafeteria um, um, during this project with the IVAI, and I was sitting with a friend of mine who is a gorgeous, incredible soprano in her own right. She's from Houston. Beautiful woman, blonde hair, blue eyed, fantastically talented, voice like an angel, like you cannot believe. With degrees up to the wazoo. And I remember we were sitting having lunch, and she had just gotten another rejection letter from another opera house in the States, where she had applied to be in the ensemble. And here she was in this workshop singing Pamino and all the, from flute and Lucia di Lammermoor, and she was like an incredible performer, incredible, like light years ahead of most people I knew. And here she was being rejected from ensembles, from ensemble opera houses, small little opera houses that most people don't even hear about. And she was 10 years older than me. I think I was 23 at the time, and she was 33, I think, or 34. And that for me was like this moment where I was like, do I really want to spend the next, 10, 20 years of my life going from audition to audition? I mean, yeah, you know what? There could be miracles. There could be, there could be ways to like make it or whatever. But I just looked around me and I said, is this really where I want to be in 10 years from now? And I decided that I just couldn't do it. It wasn't for me. And also, it's a very glamorous, it seems very glamorous on the outside, but internally it's a very, very cutthroat world. A lot of not really nice things going on behind closed doors. And that was just not something I personally wanted to be a part of. But everybody's journey is different, and you have to make the choices that are good for you. You have to maintain your integrity, which is very hard. But ultimately, you really have to just live your craft. That's it. And sometimes that can be hard, but
Well,
people do it.
Yeah, definitely live your craft. And I think something you pointed out was rejection. I mean, if you're going to go to, like Shlomit's asking here, what do you suggest for a beginner person for going for an audition? Expect to be like, go in, do your best, but expect no's. Like you're going to have tons and tons of no's before you get yeses. I mean, that's in anything really in the world. If you're in business proposals or whatever it is, but much more if you keep on constantly going to auditions, you're going to get rejected plenty of times. And you need to
let it not. And you can't let it affect you. Like, this isn't a rejection of you. This is this is somebody that's probably not going to spend more than 2 minutes looking at you. And that's hard. That's something to not take it personally.
Because there's
hard.
There's so many different factors that go into it. Like what you said with what you're looking for in auditions. I mean, what you're looking for in auditions is not necessarily what happens in a professional room. They're not necessarily, they're looking for sometimes they're looking for that what's the word, when the two people are
the chemistry.
Chemistry. They're looking for chemistry. But professionally, it's very different from like what we look for in our community. And I think that's, again, what's really great is that you have the community. So you made a decision and you're creating this like world of performance within our community for yourself, and you've done a fabulous job, and you do fabulous work and fabulous performer. I was looking for actually what you have a name in Encore, right? Like do people refer to you?
Yes. I'm the Gilbert Sullivan girl. That's what they call me.
That's what they go. Okay, I thought it was something like princess or lady or something. Not princess. I mean lady, or I forget what it was, but I wanted to like post it on the when I was writing about like the bio.
You know how I knew I'd made it? I went to see an opera in the Tel Aviv Opera House. I go often, thank God, when it's not Corona. And I was leaving the opera house at the end of a performance one night, and this person rushed after me. I was going down the stairs. I was leaving and with a friend of mine, and he ran after me and he said, "Excuse me, are you the Gilbert and Sullivan girl?" And I said, "Yes, that's me." It was so random, but like, So I get recognition for the roles that I've played. So that's nice.
Well, I took a counterterrorism expert course, after the army, like after college, whatever it was. I was an intern at the Institute for Counterterrorism, and I was learning. There was this guy from the States, and I started speaking with him, and then I met his husband. I was like, "Oh, husband!" That took me a second, but that was a while ago. Now I'm much more used to that kind of thing. Um, and he started. His husband was like really into Gilbert and Sullivan, and so I started. And he had his own society in like the States, and I was telling him about Encore and what we do here and what happens here. And he's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I met someone in the States, William Remmers, through. I think he knew him, but he also was like, there's such a cool world out there of Gilbert and Sullivan. Like there's a whole Gilbert and Sullivan society all over the world. So it's amazing that like we have a really, really amazing group here. It's called Encore now, but like every year there's a Gilbert and Sullivan, almost every year.
Almost every year, and as I told you on last Thursday, I'm third generation Gilbert and Sullivan. My grandfather played all the lead tenor roles in Pirates and Pinafore and Patience, and he did all the tenor roles, so it's in my blood, clearly. So yeah.
And you have the father on stage all the time. Right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. I did 2 performances with my dad. That was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And my brothers.
Yeah. And your brother was in Your Good Man Charlie Brown. He came in, saved the day.
That's right. Moshe was in A Good Man Charlie Brown, and Yehuda just did Pirates this time last year. We were preparing for Pirates of Penzance here in Jerusalem, and I got to do it with my baby brother. My baby brother is 6'3". And it was his first time on stage and his first time doing a Gilbert and Sullivan. So he joined the family tradition, I guess, if you will. So that was fun working.
That's awesome. It's always it's great to have family on stage with you. And Encore does it all the time, like the Abelos and all. There's tons of people.
Look, I think what Robin Paul really have achieved here is fantastic. You know, they really came in at a time where very little was happening, and they just they created something out of very little. They started off with Jess, and then they broke away. Jess wanted to focus more on plays, and Robin Paul wanted to do musicals, so they decided to part ways. And they've really done miraculous things, and I just love working with Maestro Paul. He's the best. So.
Yeah, I tried. He's a little shy, so he didn't join when I interviewed with Robert. That's what I found out. But he's such a sweetheart. He's amazing.
He's the reason I'm here today. He saw something in me, and he really like cultivated it. He really worked hard. He's fantastic, and I have a lot to thank him for. And he's super shy. He's such a genius. He's such a musical genius, and he's so shy. Like,
and I'm sure there are people that look up to you now, and you're giving them that chance, and they're really they're moving forward with it, like Shlomit. So moving from Encore, you're now in your the lead in Chitty Bing Bing.
Yes.
How is that going? How's the park rehearsals?
Very, very interesting. He's like my bestie, and also talented and crazy amazing. And also, you interviewed her the other night, Mayan Heller, who is just one of my most favorite people. She's super talented. She's choreographed 2 of my shows now, and also if you count Wizard of Oz, I don't know if you know this, but she also did the choreography for Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, she mentioned it. Yeah.
I told her, it's like, we have Shavuot coming up in the story of Ruth. So I told her, like, where you go, I go. Where I go, you go. So any opportunity I can of working with her, I'll take.
Once you find, like, you had Chaim working with you and he was continuing to work with you. You guys were collaborating a lot. You went to do concerts around Israel. Once you find those. And we miss him tremendously, and I'm sure you do as well. We miss him tremendously, so that's you. once you find those people to really work with, I mean, Yisrael Lutnick also, he sent out an email today. He has an Israel Musicals email, and he writes about fuck, but she doesn't know what I thought. The Brenda, not Brenda. I can't remember her name right now, but she did costumes and Rewrite the World, and she does everything, and like for him every single time he does a show. And
Oh wow.
like when you find those people and you can collaborate with them and consistently work with them, it's beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I only have, I don't know if you know, I have Joyce Fiedelman has been making my costumes for my shows for 14 years. She
Wow.
is, she and only she, I only bring her in to work on my costumes. She's fantastic. She knows me, you know, when you have somebody who just knows you, Mayan is like that, and Chaim of course was like that, and Joyce Fiedelman has always done my costumes, and I've always had these like people that I enjoy working with in particular. Um, yeah, exactly. There's just people that you just gel with, and they're fantastic. You don't want to not work with them ever. So
And Robert
um,
and Paul and
Nachon, it's there's just incredible people out there. Working with Israel and working on Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is my first production with Israel Musicals. I think we did like a sort of tribute to Andrew Lloyd Webber a million years ago with uh, with Yisrael and Lisa Wu and a few and one other incredible tenor, Aaron. I can't remember his last name. Sorry, Aaron. But we did a tribute to Andrew Lloyd Webber a million years ago, and since then I haven't really done anything with Yisrael. So this is sort of an opportunity, but it's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. How can you say no? It's like it's a phenomenal show. You can't
especially
say no
the
to that.
car.
Especially the car. Oh my gosh, it's adorable. We literally get updates every couple of days. Yisrael sends like another picture because it's being done professionally. The car is being done by a professional props designer. And so every week we get like another picture and another picture of how it's morphing into an actual car. It's so exciting. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, every time I speak to him, I ask him about the car.
Well, it's all about the car. You have to get the car right, you know, it's otherwise. So we're very excited about that. And of course, we were just about to do Wizard of Oz with Wit before, I call it BC, before Corona.
Right.
A week before our show was supposed to go up, we went down on lockdown basically, and we had to like shut everything down. But I just had a great conversation today with Ninoska, the producer. Ninoska and Tamar are the producers of Wit, and they are amazing women in their own right, incredibly talented and wonderful. And they and looks like we'll be starting back on that soon as well.
Oh,
we had a
amazing.
show. We had a show literally a week away from opening, and now we have to get that up. You know, they worked so hard for so many months. They're fantastic, such an amazing cast.
Yeah.
Time to get them out there on that stage. So please God.
I'm wondering what it's going to look like in September, October, November, December, when all these shows that like people were almost had them up on stage. Like Barak Bard is now thinking of a different time to put his show up, like the December time, like Hanukkah, and that Michael Burrell is announced he's going to do Aida. So
really,
that he plans to also during that time. And Penny worked hard too. Her debut role. I heard Penny was going to be Toto.
Penny was the most adorable Toto, I just have to say, and I'm not biased. She really is cute. And Romeo is actually also going to be in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Awesome. So basically all these shows that like we're going to go up. Even I don't know if Star Country's going to do it, but they would probably love to put Chicago up again. So it would be very interesting to see how the scheduling of like the community theater shows will work out.
Well, that's your problem, CB.
My problem.
Yeah, no, no, I'm kidding. Thank God we have your website. I mean, your
Yeah.
website has been like a godsend to the theater community. That's really been fantastic. I don't know if people know this, but CB worked really, really hard to put together an online calendar for all the theater companies in Jerusalem so that we wouldn't be double costing people or limiting people to performances, and you opened this online calendar for us to put in our dates, and which has made things so much easier. So that was an amazing innovation on your part.
Yeah, I
Thank you
guess it
for
is.
that.
You're welcome. I guess I'm gonna have to try to figure out how that whole thing is gonna work. I don't even, I haven't really been putting on a calendar because I've been focusing on Jet Live. Like the whole page of the of like the upcoming things is all now Jet Live, and with Corona, and people are still going to be looking
Right.
at virtual things as well. Well, it's an interesting time to be in for theater, and I love that you guys are continuing with Chi Bing Bing, and that the other shows are starting now to think about going back to theater, because we're doing it before Broadway, which is kind of cool. Like I think.
Yeah.
Um,
I really hope they get Chicago back up again. I was very fortunate. I got to see it on the second performance because I think they had to close off the third performance. So we were very lucky to see the Saturday night performance, the second performance, which was sheer joy. I mean, Ailey and Yaeli are and Jeff, they just work magic every time. And that is a show that deserves to be seen by everyone. It was really so much fun to see, and I hope they do a lot more.
yeah,
I mean, their shows are always fantastic, but
yeah,
I particularly love Chicago.
they're a great team. That's,
Yeah,
they have the people they've been working together now almost 5-6 years, and you did
exactly.
Sing Me in the Rain with them.
Yes, that was such a fun experience. And you were in that. We were in that
I,
together. So
I was in that. I was a
yeah,
director.
Nakhon,
One of my only times that I directed was in the show.
Nakhon.
um, so yeah, so this is awesome that theater is starting to slowly come back, and it was great to have you on Jet Live. Thank you for coming back and joining me
Thank you for
tonight.
having me.
We've got Miriam Metzinger tomorrow. We'll probably talk about all her crazy roles. She's been in a few shows that you've directed. Um,
There's nothing like that woman. That woman is pure gold.
and
She's just amazing, amazing. I
and
mean,
she,
I guess
she
there really
yeah.
isn't anybody who isn't fantastic in our community, but she's gold.
Well, we've got a lot of gold out there. That's what I always say. Like we have an amazing talent in our community, and there's so much that we could all do together, theatrically. And so she's going to be with us tomorrow, speaking about acting, theater, her experience with COVID, and also her writing. She's been doing writing, and she got her show produced by Yale Valier and Theater and Theology. And we got Yale Silver coming all the way from I think Toronto, Broadway.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah,
excited for
on
her.
Sunday. Yeah,
Excited to see her. I miss her. I miss her so much.
it's gonna be my
Also,
first
another
time
talent.
meeting her, so I'm excited. Also, and then Brian Friedland's gonna be joining on Tuesday next week as well.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
we will hopefully continue to be doing Jet Live. Even though we're starting to go back to, like, theater and normal and whatnot, we still got this space and to connect and talk about theater, and it'll be awesome. And I thank you again for joining. Break
Thank
a
you for
leg with
doing this,
all of your
Phoebe.
things.
Thank you for doing this. You really are keeping the community sort of united in a way, and keeping everybody together. And I'm really enjoying logging in and hearing people's stories and hearing what people have to say. It's so wonderful to get to know people that I already know, but on a different level. You're doing great work. Thank
You
you.
don't always get that chance in rehearsal when you gotta
No,
sing and dance and do all
absolutely
that.
not. Absolutely not. I'm looking forward to hearing Brian's story. He's a legend, you know.
Yes,
So yeah, excited. Very
I
excited.
think
Thank
I
you
think
very much for having me.
he's been doing it about 2004. He said he started with Michael.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow, 16 years.
yep, yep.
Amazing.
All right. See you all
Thank
tomorrow,
you.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining.